Hello everybody, you have tuned in to Eric Jose on Making a Murderer on YouTube. I cover virtually any aspect of making a murderer. I go over the evidence, the documents, the photos. So if you like, stay tuned, and in the future I'll have many more videos besides the one you're about to see. So before I get to talking about Lynn Kachinski here today, I wanted to give everybody a little bit of heads up. Tomorrow on the 4th of July, Independence Day, I'm going to be going live. So anybody that wants to tune in for that. Also wanted to let people know that I'm going to be doing the talk with Miss Tracy Keogh. Should be uploaded by Thursday night or Friday morning. So everybody who is interested in seeing that, just want to give everybody a heads up on those couple things. And now on to Lynn Kachinski. Alright, so today we're here to talk a little bit about Lynn Kachinski. Some of you may know he was in the news today. Some of you may remember he recently had some trouble. There was reports of inappropriate activity with one of his court clerks. Yep, that's right. Yes, he was made a judge. Don't even get me started. But anyways, so he was apparently acting inappropriate in some fashion with one of his clerks, and it was really bothering that person, and they ended up filing a claim or whatever. Well, apparently that claim had some legs on it, because they ended up filing a temporary restraining order on him about limiting his communication and stuff with that particular person. And then the case was reheard, and that restraining order was upheld. And so what happened now, he got arrested here recently and booked, because it appears that he has violated it. There's some communique and apparently something else that they're not being very, very descriptive about just yet. Just that there's some things that they're looking into and investigating. But I'll tell you what, I mean, when you look at the guy, I mean, this all seems pretty serious, as you're going to find out here in the article I'm going to end up showing you. But let's talk a little bit something else about Lynn Kachinski here, the faces of Lynn Kachinski. Well, you know, the funny thing is about this, well, here, have a look at Lynn's, picture there, right there, right? Okay. Oh, why does he always have that goofy smile? I mean, there he is. He's getting booked into jail, and he has like this really goofy smile and everything. Like, kind of like this one here. Yeah. Or maybe that one. But yeah. But you know what it should be? You know what it should be like? He should be looking like this. Yeah. So, yeah, he's a piece of work, but let me go ahead and we'll see the article here, and we'll come on back. Oshkosh, Fox Crossing Municipal Judge Lynn Kachinski was booked into Winnebago County Jail on Monday on preliminary charges of stalking and violating a temporary restraining order. A restraining order that was issued in June. So anyways, he obviously was brought in on charges of stalking and violating that order. Kachinski said in an email Tuesday that he was released at 11:30 a.m. without charges. Winnebago County District Attorney Christian Gossett said earlier in the morning that he anticipated his office would make a decision Tuesday on whether Kachinski would remain in custody, but that a charging decision would likely be made next week when the person handling the case is back in the office. So the article talks about the fact that his court clerk had made accusations, basically, or claims that he was inappropriately kind of like propositioning her or whatever, and making her, harassing her, and that when she was not, going along with him, that he was then retaliating. So she had these claims. It was going on, where in that county, this case was being still looked into. It was ongoing. And then it turns out, but earlier this year, a Winnebago County Court Commissioner granted a restraining order against him. Kachinski wrote in response to the clerk's petition for a restraining order that he hasn't harassed, intimidated, or retaliated against her. After a rehearing in that case, Sheboygan County Judge Edward Stengel reissued the restraining order on June 19th. The order prohibits Kachinski from having contact with his court clerk other than through work-related functions and limits communication to work topics. The order, which expires on May 1st, 2019, also prohibits him from having contact with his clerk, her residence, her family, or their residences, in addition to mandating that a third party be present for any one-on-one meetings between Kachinski and the clerk. Attorney James Macy, who is representing the village, said despite the restraining order, in recent days electronic communication and materials left in the office created the current situation. He declined to go into specifics, saying those communications are under investigation by the Winnebago County District Attorney's Office and Sheriff's Department. From the villagers' standpoint, they just simply want a regular, respectful working relationship in the office, and that's all they've ever asked for, or the clerk has asked for. As simple as that, Macy told USA Today Network Wisconsin, and they just can't seem to get there with the judge. Kachinski said one reason for his arrest was that he posted a highlighted copy of a chapter from the village's personnel manual on his desk. I did not and still do not see that as a violation of the order, he said, but Stengel's order opened the door to so many possible violations for legitimate supervisory conduct that it may be impossible for me to effectively serve as judge for much longer. Well, I don't think you should even be practicing law, Len Kachinski, but we're seeing your true self more and more all the time. Previous court filings allege erratic behavior, harassment against the clerk, and subsequent retaliation against her. The documents include accusations that he made cat noises while staring at her for almost 40 minutes, sent an email that she, village administration, and the police chief interpreted as a threat, continually emails her about non-work issues, and filed letters of reprimand against her for such conduct as refusing to acknowledge or return Christmas greetings. Kachinski said in an email in June that a toy cat made the cat noises. The Wisconsin Judicial Commission has filed a complaint with the state Supreme Court. Attorney Douglas Fife, who is listed as representing Kachinski in one of the cases involved with the village, was not immediately available on Tuesday. Kachinski, longtime attorney in the Fox Cities, garnered national attention when he was featured in the Netflix docuseries Making a Murderer. He had served as an attorney for Brendan Dassey before being removed from the case. Served? He didn't serve as an attorney for Brendan Dassey. He served as an attorney working for the state. But yeah, that's the only one thing there that I would correct. But yeah, otherwise. So serious enough charges that a judge that reheard it decided to uphold a restraining order, and yet he's smiling like this when he really should look like this like he did at Brendan's appeal when they were finding out what him and O'Kelly had done to Brendan. Alright, so there's the antics of Len Kachinski. I mean, first of all, dude, after what he did with Brendan, they made this man a judge, and then now this little fiasco. And you know, what bothers me is him not taking it seriously. You know, is this going to be like another repeat of Kratz? You know, like the way he just kind of skated away after, you know, at least attempting to force sex on victims of domestic violence that he was supposed to be helping and protecting. I mean, he was like arguing that the OLR was out of line to even be mad at him or whatever. Why should he have to pay anything? Well, it would have been because of your poor decision making. That's why. But anyways, so I'm worried about that with Ken, or with Len Kachinski here. But you know, obviously, lots of people are watching. Lots of people who watched Making a Murderer are watching this and are interested. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here. But clearly, Len's going to have his day in court. The evidence is going to be, you know, submitted and you know, argued about and whatever, and then, you know, we're gonna know more at that point. So obviously, I'll reserve a bit of my judgment for that point. But I mean, from what I can see of Len already, the kind of lackluster performance that he gave with Brendan, and how very little he seemed to be guilty about that. I don't think I'm going to see any guilt from him this time, but I sure do hope I see him get some consequences. I sure hope it's more than just a little slap on the wrist, because like I said, I don't know how this man ever was made a judge in the first place. So anyways, that's about it for today, folks. If you haven't already, please hit subscribe.